So then after that, the chief of police decided he'd run for mayor on the anti-homeless ticket. And that if he was elected, he would round up all the homeless people, put them in a work camp south of the city with a sign over the entrance saying, "Work shall make you free." So he gets elected and he starts his program, Quality of Life Enforcement Matrix Program. And he gets 2 airplanes from the Justice Department with thermal imaging devices so they can fly up and down the streets and parks and see the body heat of where the homeless are living and round them up. And so we go to American Civil Liberties Union and we get a video camera from them, a camcorder, so we could videotape anything happening at our meals. And sure enough, right away, the Matrix Squad comes in, they order everyone to take their shoes off and throw them in the garbage trucks, they take their sleeping bags and blankets, animal control comes and takes everyone's pets away, they arrest a few people on warrants, they say some people are too mentally ill to be outside and take them off to the psych ward at San Francisco General, and a grandmother, we videotape a grandmother fighting to save her photo album of her grandchildren as the police rip it out of her arms and throw it in the garbage truck. So we give the video to the TV companies, and Channel 2 in Oakland airs it, and the mayor is furious. It makes his homeless program look inhumane. So he goes to the city attorney, Louise Rennie, and gets a court order against us serving food without a permit, and he goes to the Parks Department and has them delete the permit process. So now we start getting arrested for felony conspiracy to serve food in violation of a court order. So the nuns come out with the priests and the rabbis and everybody, they get arrested and they have to spend the night in jail. The teachers have to spend the night in jail. We have to spend the night in jail. And so this goes on and on. And then we get a letter from a friend of ours, Michael Stoops, who is one of the founders of the Coalition of the Homeless, the National Coalition of the Homeless in Washington, D.C. And he said, because of the savings and loan crisis, the fact there's all these empty buildings, we're going to have a protest called Housing Now. And we had met all these people who had just been evicted from a hotel across from one of the largest soup kitchens in San Francisco, Glide Memorial Church. So we thought for our protest, we would sneak into that hotel the night before because we knew the mayor would arrive to cut turkey and do his photo op for Thanksgiving. So we get into that hotel, and when he arrives, we hang banners out the windows, and one of them says, "Homes Not Jails." And this gives us the idea to ride our bikes all around the city and write down the addresses of all the abandoned houses and go to the tax office at City Hall to find out who owns them. And in most cases, it turned out it was banks suing each other, sort of like what we see now with the housing foreclosure crisis. And so we would then go to those buildings, we'd take off the locks, put on our own locks, and then at dinner we'd make an announcement, does anyone here want a free place to live? And you would be surprised how many homeless people want a free place. So we would say, meet us tomorrow at 9 o'clock at this address and we'll give you a free house. And so they would come there, we'd have the keys, we'd open the door, we'd let people in, and the neighbors would go, "Oh, that's so nice, they're finally fixing up that old place down the corner." And according to the book No Trespassing, we had keys to 400 houses, and we had between 100 and 200 of those houses occupied at any given time. And then we were going to read the names of all the homeless people that had frozen to death in San Francisco that year. We worked with the coroner's office and we collected, we knew of 150 people who had died. So we're going to read them at a vigil, and so we call up the radio stations to tell them about the vigil, and they say, "Oh, we can't take phone calls from Food Not Bombs. That would be aiding and abetting in a felony." So we decide, well, we have a friend, Stephen Dunfer, that can make radio transmitters, and you don't need a license to broadcast under 100 watts, so we made Free Radio Berkeley and San Francisco Liberation Radio. And so we're on January 1st of '94, we're up on Twin Peaks in our camper we were using as a radio studio, and we got an email that day from a group called the Zapatistas, or the EZLN, and they wanted us to read about why they were having an uprising in southern Mexico against the North American Free Trade Agreement, and what could we read about this on our radio station? And we're like, oh, we would love to. So we're up on Twin Peaks reading about the uprising when we notice a lot of police are parking behind us. So we take the mixer and the mic down, put it under the table, we get out some crackers and hummus and open a bottle of wine, and we got a candle, and the cops look in and we go, "Oh, Happy New Year's, we're just celebrating." And they go, "Okay." And then they leave, and we get the mic out again and start reading about the Zapatistas. And then the next morning, we're down in front of City Hall, and we got this big sign saying, "Viva Zapatista, no NAFTA." And all these people are honking and coming up and supporting us. And this guy comes up with a cell phone out of City Hall with a cell phone. He calls, and We had not seen cell phones before, so this was very crazy. And he was able to get a tow truck to come and take our truck. So I go into City Hall to the phone booth to find out how to get the truck back, and he follows me into the phone booth. So I say, I'm sorry, tow lady, there's a man smashing me against the walls here. I can't finish talking to you. I'll go to another phone and call you back. So I go upstairs, figure out where my truck is, and come down. These businessmen are like, hey, Keith, we want to talk to you. And I go, yeah, how's it going? And they go, oh, you're under arrest for assault, battery, and strong arm robbery. And that is a strike under the new California 3 strikes law. So I'm like, wow, that's really hardcore. So they take me away. And by now, we've been collecting all this information for the Clinton administration to send federal marshals out to defend us, because Howard Zinn and some of our other co-workers had been in the freedom marches in Mississippi and Alabama. And I thought, well, you know, the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department will sure send federal marshals out to protect us from the San Francisco police. And we're now being not only arrested, but beaten every day. So we made a film called Food Not Bomb's Greatest Hits to send to the Justice Department. We had wiretap memos and all this stuff to give to them, and their police memos and stuff. And so the Clintons write back and say, oh, we don't see anything illegal with what's happening here. So we give that and all the other materials to Amnesty and the United Nations. And they write back and say, oh, we'll work for your freedom, we'll call for an end to the arrest, and we'll declare you prisoners of conscience if you're convicted. So we're handing out the letter from Amnesty International to the politicians. When one of them was so angry, she slammed the door, her office door, on me and my friend Jesse, and the glass broke out and cut my hand. So I went to my truck to go to get stitches, where I get arrested again. And this time the police say, oh yeah, the witness in San Diego, 800 miles south, said you were trying to propel glass into her neck and kill her. So we're charging you with assault with a deadly weapon. And you stole 24 Berkeley Farms milk crates, so we're going to charge you with possession of stolen property. So now you're facing 25 to life in prison, and your bail is going to be $75,000 or $250,000. So we argue in court and everything. We finally get it down to $75,000, which is still steep for Food Not Bombs. And it turned out the milk crates were we borrowed from a local vegetarian restaurant every day to use as a table to serve off of, because the police would come and take our actual folding tables, and it was getting too expensive to keep doing that. So now I'm stuck in jail waiting for my 3 strikes trial, and finally I got to go to court. And it's the same day as the original O.J. Simpson trial, the opening of his first trial, so no one ever heard about this. And then I'm in a plexiglass bulletproof box for the safety of the community. They've got like riot police ringing the courtroom, and the judge is like, we can't have a trial today, this is too crazy. So he asked the clerk for another date, and they say, oh, October 31st is available. So we come back to court, and it turns out there's trick-or-treat candy in bowls all throughout the courthouse. So Food Not Bombs activists take the trick-or-treat candy, go to the front of the courthouse, hand it out, and get arrested. The judge says, it's too crazy, let's move it to another date. The clerk says February 14th is free. We show up, now there's Valentine's candy, we get arrested handing that out in front of the courthouse, and the judge says, okay, it's too much chaos, we're going to send you to Judge Lucy McCabe tomorrow morning. 9 o'clock. So we show up, and she's already drunk at 9 o'clock. And she's like, why are they bothering a good Irish boy like you? That's just terrible. We're going to drop all 47 felony conspiracy to serve food charges. We're going to drop your 3 strike charges. You make up some felony you want to be convicted of. And we'll give you credit for 500 days for credit time served, and you can write your own probation. So I wrote my own probation. I wasn't allowed to kill anyone or bomb any buildings for 1 year. So then